Hey, I want to just share something fun. As a longtime musician and percussionist, I've done my share of street performing. Even though I never intentionally did it for money, people inevitably will leave money at your feet, even if you only have a modicum of talent. And I would know, because I only recently taught myself how to play a bit of guitar, and people in Boulder and Tokyo always left me money. Actually, just enough money for another coffee or beer. By the way, did you know performing music on the street for money is called busking? It comes from the Spanish word buscar, which means to seek. I recently started a new music group of various eclectic musicians called StreetCorps. And since we focus on outdoor performances, I wanted to improve my street percussion options. I thought about buying a shallow kick drum, but when I thought of how much equipment I would need to carry, a suitcase actually made much more sense to me. I think the most difficult thing about making a suitcase kick drum is finding the perfect suitcase. Newer roller bags with wheels and soft-shell suitcases like these are not suitable. Yes, a pun was intended. I recommend looking for a vintage suitcase like some of these. I bought this World War II era suitcase on an eBay auction in Japan without knowing what it might sound like. But because it is a vintage suitcase, I knew it might have some weight and density, perhaps giving it a deep sound. I was right. Even before I mounted hardware onto it, with a couple of hand hits, I could tell it would work quite well. I paid 6,000 Japanese yen, around $55 US, which I think is fair, but it might be more than you want to spend. However, as an architect and designer, I have to say the design, the style, is really important to me. The basic hardware you need to turn a suitcase into a kick drum includes a sturdy door hinge, 2 floor tom mounts or brackets, and 2 floor tom legs, some bolts and nuts and washers. And on the software side, I recommend a soft cajon beater like this one. I also got some thick black rubber from a fellow musician friend to soften up the connections, as you'll see here. I mounted the hinge to the suitcase with a piece of this black rubber behind it, and I used a piece of this rubber on the hinge face where the kick pedal actually bolts or clamps onto the hinge itself. I used large diameter washers and lock washers under every bolt penetrating the suitcase shell. Now, I had to decide whether to mount the floor tom mounts or leg brackets on the side of the suitcase or on the face. And I finally decided on the face because it was easier to measure and to set up. And it also might provide more stability and slightly better for future add-ons. More in a minute on that. By the way, I did not tear out the lining of the suitcase. I think others have recommended this for improved bass resonance, and I just decided that I could do it later if I needed to. I did make a couple of small rubber wedges to stick under the suitcase handle to prevent vibration noise during performances. I traced one of the floor tom mounts, by the way, just in the beginning to carefully measure the distance between the 2 bolt holes and kind of to create a planning template, a way to think about where I'm going to put the holes. Once I transferred this information by pencil onto the suitcase face, the process went quite quickly. I have to say, I'm very pleased with the results. The sound is quite good, though it's hard to tell or by using just an iPhone. It doesn't really pick up the low frequency. Here, I'll let you listen. I mentioned add-ons. The extra length of the tom-tom legs is perfect for mounting a cowbell, woodblock, or tambourine. And this actually made me think about maybe I should buy a super small tom or a piccolo tom and mount that on top of the suitcase as well somehow. Just maybe. We percussionists like to remind people that the drum, after voice, is the oldest instrument in the world. And I like to imagine that the first drum was a hollow log beat on perhaps with an animal bone. But drums made with alligator skins have been found in Neolithic cultures located in China, dating back as far as 5,500 years BC. This suitcase drum is both old and new. An older shell. It's much older than my 40-year-old Ludwig snare drum, but it's newer in that it only recently became a drum. I hope the next time you see this drum, it'll be used on the streets in Tokyo with my friends in StreetCorps. Have you ever improvised or made a musical instrument from something common? Let me know in the comments and share a link to your project if you have images or video. I'd love to see them. Thanks for watching.